Здравствуйте, дорогие коллеги!
Good afternoon, dear friends. Greetings. Welcome to our Russian-Indonesia Industrial Forum. New opportunities for bilateral cooperation. Dear participants, dear colleagues, briefly I would tell that today for us it's very topical. Current year for the Russian and Indonesia relations is very important, very interesting and special because this year we celebrate the 70 years anniversary of diplomatic relations. Development of trade and economic cooperation of Russia and Indonesia includes not only bilateral relations but also multilateral relations, especially in Asia-Pacific region. Distinguished colleagues, I suggest to discuss the number of issues which are very topical today. Most promising industries and export growth points for export between Russia and Indonesia, features of work in the markets in Russia and Indonesia, and how we can facilitate the cooperation of our business community. What are the bilateral projects defining cooperation between Russia and Indonesia, and what are the prospects? Dear colleagues, pandemic, as we know, made its correction into development of all our relations in general and economy in the world, and we face an important task of searching new formats and new solutions. Many processes which started long ago are an impetus for the development of our bilateral relations, including cooperation on the free trade zone, which is under progress today, which is being discussed on the margins of Eurasian Economic Union. If we talk about the Delovaya Россия, Business Russia organization, I must say that we have a lot of partnership cooperation, a systematic plan of cooperation. We hosted a number of events within which frameworks we realized and once again confirmed the areas of cooperation of business, understanding the impediments which we have at the moment. Nevertheless, dear colleagues, it's very important to, from time to time, share our experience, synchronize our watches. I would like to give the floor to our friend and colleague, Acting Director of the Department of Asia, Africa, Latin America, Alexei Mishkov. Alexei, we know that this year you have already had a meeting of the working group on development of industry and trade and investment within the frameworks of the Intergovernmental Committee headed by Denis Manturov, the Minister of Industry and Trade of Russia. What are the key prospects of development, to your point of view, exist at this moment within the frameworks of Russia and Indonesia relations? What are the barriers, what are the impediments, and how to overcome them? Thank you very much, Nona. Distinguished colleagues, I hope you can hear me well. I hope that there is interpreting. First of all, on behalf of the Ministry of Industry and Trade of the Russian Federation, I would like to welcome our Indonesian colleagues, Russian participants. Special thanks to Nonna for moderating this event, for the support of Business Russia, all our activities in this sphere, and the efforts, investment to strengthen our foreign economic relations. As for our relations with Indonesia, for us, it's a strategic partner. We have very clear goals to increase the trade turnover with this very important country of Southeast Asia. Our areas of cooperation are shipbuilding, metallurgy, aviation, aircraft construction, automotive industry. We have very positive experience of participation of Russian companies in Indonesian market in the sphere of automotive equipment production. We have a lot of things to do in the sphere of aircraft construction, aircraft engineering. First of all, I would like to emphasize that we consider opportunities of localization, of manufacturing Russian companies on the Indonesia market. We do not suggest to increase our cooperation only only in this area of exports. We are searching for other ways of production on Indonesian market. I believe that our strategic partners will support this trend. On our side, on behalf of the Ministry and Trade of the Russian Federation, we are willing to invest all the available measures to facilitate the manufacturers, Russian manufacturers who will enter the market of Indonesia. And we expect that our colleagues from Indonesia will provide us with all the information about advantages for the investors, for the companies which are willing to enter the market. And some also we would like to learn about the Indonesian legislation. I would like also to invite trade representative of the Russian Federation in Indonesia, Sergei Rasamahov, a person who spent many years in Indonesia. He is aware of all the local conditions, and I believe that he will join our conversation. Once again, I wish the best of success to all the participants of today's event. Thank you very much, dear colleagues. Thank you, Alexei. Distinguished colleagues, now I would like to give the floor to our colleague, Didat Ratam, Chairman for Russia and CIS Committee, Indonesian Chamber of Commerce and Industry of the Republic of Indonesia. Are you here with us? Could you please tell us how would you characterize the development of Russian-Indonesia relationships? Because the Chamber of Commerce and Industry is one of the largest organizations. You are financed from private sources. You are not under the governmental influence. What do you think about our trade and economic relations?
I believe, first of all, thank you for inviting us into this distinguished forum. Also, so ladies and gentlemen, fellow speakers, this is an honor for us. And with regards to your question, we believe that there's a lot to be done with regards to trade and investments between Indonesia and Russia. We believe that this is still a place that can be further expanded, as you may know, and I'm pretty sure that my following speakers are going to speak about this. But the trade volume between Indonesia and Russia, or Russia and Indonesia, is only about $2 billion. Uh, and this is very small if you consider that we have 400 million people altogether. Indonesia has about 260 million people, and Russia has about 145 million people. So for 400 million people, and with a combined GDP of around close to $3 trillion, I think the trade volume needs to go up. We need to improve in trade relations between the two countries, and we are complementary countries in terms of products that we have. So that is our view, and we believe that we can improve. I mean, we can improve the relationship.
Спасибо, господин Ратам.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ratam. We will continue our cooperation. We will more actively involve business community into these processes, and we will plan our cooperation. As it was said by our colleague from the Ministry of Industry and Trade, we have a trade representative of the Russian Federation in Indonesia, Mr. Sergei Rasamahov. I would invite you to join our discussion. Sergei, trade representative, is a person who is ambassador of Russian business in the country, because all the business flows are passing through you. What is your opinion about the current cooperation, how the pandemic influenced the trade turnover? What are the most acute problems at the moment? Good afternoon, good morning. First of all, I would like to thank for the invitation. Thank you for an opportunity to take part in this conference, and I would like to especially thank colleagues from Indonesia who answered our invitation and agreed to take part in this event, which proves that the Indonesia business is interested in development on economic and trade cooperation with the Russian Federation, especially in the sphere of industrial cooperation. Of course, the pandemics, COVID-19, and the global recession caused by that has a huge impact on the volume of bilateral cooperation, on the rates of promotion, of progress of a number of projects. According to the Russian customs statistics, the first 8 months of 2020, the trade turnover decreased by 7.3%. But of course, there are some positive aspects. For example, the export has increased share of the equipment machine engineering products, which is more than 13% now. Previously, it was less than 5% of the total turnover. What else do I have to say? Bilateral trade, in particular, supplies of traditional goods of Russian export and imports of Indonesian traditional goods, in the nearest future, these opportunities will not be very promising. Probably, we believe that the prospect areas in this sphere could be cooperation between our countries in the sphere of industrial cooperation, investment cooperation, scientific and technical area. I believe that these 3 pillars, which in the nearest future will become the basis for our bilateral cooperation. Undoubtedly that under the conditions of recession, an opportunity which we have change and we have less opportunities, especially in industrial and investment cooperation. Investment demand is going down, consumer demand is going down. All of that has a huge impact on bilateral cooperation. Nevertheless, even now, it is necessary to develop projects of cooperation. After the global recession ends, we need to prepare everything for implementation of such projects. These projects are under implementation at the moment. Alexei Mishkov has listed the areas of bilateral cooperation: automobile engineering, aircraft engineering, shipbuilding industry. Shipbuilding industry includes signing of interdisciplinary memorandum of cooperation between the Ministry of Trade of the Russian Federation and Ministry of Industry of Indonesia. I would also add agricultural machine building, energy machine building sector, pharmaceutical industry, production of medical equipment and other machines. These are the prospect areas of bilateral cooperation on the territory of Indonesia. I would like to also emphasize that Indonesia company have good experience and necessary financial resources to improve industrial cooperation on the territory of the Russian Federation in textile goods production, shoes production, food industry, furniture production. Indonesian companies have all the necessary experience which they could share, and they could take part in the cooperation projects on the territory of the Russian Federation. For us, especially topical is the Far East region and Siberia. I would also like to notice that under the conditions of the global recession, I believe it's very important to take all the advantage of the national currencies in bilateral cooperation. This topic was on the agenda of the meeting of the working group on industry, trade and investment, and I believe this topic could be further developed. Briefly, that would be the prospects. I believe that if we manage to move forward in the sphere of industrial cooperation, we have a number of projects. Probably the KAMAZ representative will tell about that automotive industry, and the aircraft engineering will, I believe that there will be reports on this, and pharmaceutical industry in all the above mentioned areas of industrial cooperation includes implementation of different projects. Of course, progress of these projects is different. What are the projects are the subject of addressing to you? People address to you with projects or problems. Usually they address asking to tell about the investment climate, specific features of business in Indonesia, about taxation, about investment incentives, etc. That probably would be the key questions we are asked about the industrial cooperation. And the current period, the pandemics, does it have a huge impact on these business activities, on this cooperation? And the trade turnover has changed a lot. We realize that the turnover decreased by 3 to 4% during the first 6 months of 2020. What do you think about the prospects of recovery of these processes? I believe that this year is very difficult. We will have negative results. As I have said, we had minus 7.3% of trade turnover for the period of 8 months of 2020. I believe that there will be minus 5 or minus 6%. This is the most difficult year from the point of view of pandemics and the economic recession caused by the pandemic. With the recovery of the market, with the recovery of investment and consumer demand, we believe that next year we will have positive results of bilateral trade turnover. We are especially concerned about the Russian non-energy sector, non-energy and fuel export. Thank you, Sergey. Thank you very much. And we move forward.
And now we are going to speak with the business, and I will give the floor to Mr. Sergey Galstyan, the director of the trading house KAMAZ in Indonesia. Good morning, Sergey. As a trading house with serious transactions, what do you think about the barriers and problems that exist, and how did you go through development of your company and the start of your work in Indonesia? I'd like to start by thanking the organizers. This is my first time as a speaker in this format. We are not a trading house, actually. We are a daughter company of KAMAZ in Indonesia. This means that we do not only trade, we also go into the market in full with all the functionality required. This includes technical maintenance and the trade network creation. The decision to set up the company was made in 2017. Later, we started the process of registering of incorporation, and then we started our investment activities. And as per the laws of Indonesia, companies with foreign capital are not allowed to operate as distributors or dealers. This is why we are an importer. Our company is a daughter company. We have a distributor. This is the Bluebird company, which is known in Indonesia, which sells products to end consumers. We have already delivered 120 units, 120 machines to the Assam mining company. This is a state-owned coal mining company and a power generation company. The state as it is today, we call it the pandemic, has affected our business negatively. The amounts of deliveries of the supplies have decreased, but we decided to focus on maintenance and service. We are not losing, we're not wasting time. We decided to strengthen our post-sales service, and we have plans for next year. We are preparing a restart, and next year we're planning to deliver about 150 machines. As regards accessing the markets and the investment atmosphere, the investment environment, I confirm my commitment to helping all of you. Please can contact us. We have a trade representative office, which also helps us a lot. I think Indonesia is a very special, unique region as regards investments and business establishment. At first, things seem difficult, but in fact, they turn out to be very easy and very enabling in terms of investments. But what's important is to prepare the good roadmap. Yes, thank you, Sergey. And my question is, what could we do, and what could we do in terms of administrative institutional sphere, in what could be done in order to increase the exports of your productions all over the world? What I'd say is the main barrier that exists today between the Russian Federation and Indonesia as regards the trade regime is the problem with financial transactions. I think as an economist, I see the following. We need to initiate signing a treaty or an agreement in order to be able to pay in national currencies. If we can do that, then I can confirm and I can assure you, both from experience and theoretically, we will have a very positive result, both for Indonesia and for Russian products exports. Thank you very much, Mr. Galstyan. And we move on. And today we have here our colleague, Agun Nugroho. This is Regio Aviation Industry Company that designs and produces aircraft. We realize that the pandemic has impacted all spheres, including aircraft building. How do you see the cooperation with the Russian colleagues in the current situation? What's the potential for the cooperation?
Вы должны включить звук. Включите, пожалуйста, звук.
Please turn on your sound. Please turn on the microphone.
Okay, already. First of all, I would like to thank you for the opportunity, and it's an honor for me to be involved in this distinguished forum. First of all, I would like to introduce a little bit about Regio Aviasi Industri. Regio Aviasi Industri is an Indonesian engineering company founded by the late President B.J. Habibie in 2012. Our program is to develop the R80, 80 to 90 seater turboprop airplane from design, assembly, certification to sales and product support. We developed this because Indonesia is one of the largest growth air traffic volume, and it is 2-digit, and the magnitude is 3 times the GDP. So it's very high. So Dr. Habibie would like to have the national capability for supporting the need of national need. Illusion offers participation in development using Russian experience and technology in 2018. We mostly welcome this initiative, and we have been discussing many things, and we are preparing for cooperation to do 2 sub-programs. First is to enter the Indonesian market for Illusion airplane, and the second is the main program is co-development of the R80 aircraft between RAI and Illusion. And the benefit of cooperation, first of all, that co-development will be better for both countries. Better case for business, expand the market, technology cooperation, as well as to lower the risk. And of course, Indonesia will strengthen its national aeronautical industry through the investment. Since Indonesia is a big market, then Russia will have the opportunity to expand the market and have an industrial partner who has a deep knowledge of the Indonesian situation, Indonesian market situation, as well as the industry. So in my opinion, this program is very strategic for countries, because not only the high value of the aeronautical industry, but also the possible of the creation of the multiplier effect in many areas. Thank you.
Спасибо, господин Нугроху.
Thank you, Mr. Nugroho. We realize that the pandemic has also affected your industry greatly, and you had to adjust your plans. What do you think?
Yes.
How long will it take to restore the work that you have had before the pandemic?
Yeah, the pandemic brings very deep impact to the industries worldwide, not only Indonesia or Russia, where most activity is limited to working from home, and there is a lot of limitation in meeting people, working in a factory, and so on. But because we are in a early stage, many things can be done through online, but we have to keep consolidating. The prediction is that the air traffic volume will bounce back in about 3 to 4 years at worst. So this is big opportunity. We should consolidate during the COVID, and so that when the normal situation is coming, then we will be ready. Indonesia has a very big opportunity. For turboprop only, we estimate about 100 airplane for the next 10 years, not including the jets and so on. So this is a very big opportunity that we should prepare.
Спасибо большое, господин Нугроху. Уважаемые
Thank
коллеги.
you very much, Mr. Nugroho. Dear colleagues, today we have both people from the governments and also people who work to operate in the Indonesian markets, and our friends who are planning to access the Indonesian market. And today we have a STM company participating here, Andrei Bardij is here. And the question is to you. The company that you're a company that is only planning to access the Indonesian market, and you can see a pool of questions and problems. And which issues have you faced in trying to access the international market, and which issues are you facing in accessing the Indonesian market? And the second question is as follows: in trying to access international markets, any company imagines what kind of support they have to have from such business associations as the trade chamber and other associations, and support from the authorities, from the regulators. What support do you expect? Thank you very much, and good morning to the colleagues from Russia, and good afternoon to the colleagues from Indonesia. What I'd like to start with, what I'd like to say first is that as everybody says, and as the Indonesian colleagues point out, we have 400 million of population all in all, and two great economies that are growing dynamically cannot but may encourage us to want to do business with Indonesia. But of course, we face problems. The screen shows some information on our company, and today we focus on the opportunities that we see in the railway engineering. The key problem to us is first of all an advantage for the Indonesian market. It's a highly competitive market, and it's very open as of today. All producers from developed countries are present there. This includes supplies from Europe and Korea and Japan and the United States. And it's quite difficult, quite a challenge for us to try and enter this environment. But on the other hand, our company has ready-made products that we could deliver to the Indonesian market. And the second question is on the systemic support. Indeed, we see that Indonesia plans to double the railway network until 2030. This roadmap is divided into a great number of projects that will be implemented, and we see ourselves as possible suppliers of the machinery for maintenance of the tracks. And secondly, we could supply the locomotives for mining companies, shunting locomotives for mining companies and for other industries in Indonesia. We monitor open international bidding platforms, which mainly are located in India. And we see a lot of publications on the market in Southern Asia and in Near East and in the Near East and in Europe. As regards Indonesia, we only learn the information quite late. And what I'd like to encourage and urge the Indonesian side to do is to increase the awareness on our side on the projects being implemented through various platforms that exist. And because even during the pandemic, our exports has grown under new contracts as compared to the past year. We use all innovative technologies in implementing the projects. This includes loans and depot infrastructure and long-term maintenance. And as regards India, we implement a project on localizing several types of machinery And next week, we will be shipping 2 machines to India. We have faced some delays, but all mechanisms work. And I'd like to say once again that we are certainly competitive. And if we know more on the opportunities in the Indonesian market, we will be happy to demonstrate that our products and later our services, if we supply a product, we will have to provide post-sale service, that our products and services are not worse and maybe even better than the known European, Asian, and American analogous products. We see that the competition for us is a difficulty for us, but it's a challenge, and we have won the contracts from American and Chinese and European competitors, and we have been awarded 3 contracts this year. We are planning to continue bidding in tender procedures, and we are very hopeful that we have a great potential for accessing the Indonesian market. We have quite a few colleagues from Indonesia that work in the transportation industry, and I would like to encourage you to continue the dialogue after this session in order to learn more about each other. Yes, that's true, Andrei. Your presentation is a great chance to access the Indonesian market.
Could you tell us about your experience on entering foreign markets? We have many listeners who are interested on what is the sequence of actions to enter the foreign market. What is your recipe of success? It's very simple. The life cycle of export project starts, first of all, with the study of the market. You have to study it. You have to choose, first of all, the market, because we all are limited in resources. It's very important to concentrate, to focus on the very aspect where you have the powers to develop. Don't be shy, don't be afraid to ask for support. In our case, in Russia, there are many tools for exporters supporting Ministry of Industry and Trade and Business Russia organization and the government, which are provide financial and advisory support. And now it's possible to take the advantage of the pandemics to save on the trip expenditures. Physically, we are limited in space, and because many people take part in this very event from their home. But we are very mobile, because previously such a forum would be very time intensive from the point of view of travel and all the associated events, preparation events, but now we have 2 hours, we can talk, we can discuss everything, we shall take the maximum advantage of that, and it will bring its results. We have to be prepared to the situation when we face challenge, but we should not be afraid of it. That's the key point. I totally agree with you. We have to be open to the world without being afraid of impediments. Dear colleagues, there are answers to all the questions. And of course, there are answers from our colleagues who accompany these events, business associations. Business is willing to share its developments. If we talk about Business Russia, we have an Institute of Business Ambassadors, which includes 48 countries accompanying and supporting Russian companies during their entry on the Russian market. I would like to give the floor our colleagues to Indonesia construction company, which is building roads, bridges, housing, and provides services on maintenance and supports interests of both Russian and Indonesian companies. I would like to give the floor to Mr. Rosie Rinjayadi, Vice President of PT Hutama Karya company. Or There will be Martin Ampela instead of him. Martin, welcome to our event. Could you please tell us what are your plans for cooperation with Russian companies? What cooperation experience do you have at the moment, if you have any today, and what are the barriers, what are the impediments on Russian markets you can tell us about?
Hello, sorry. Could you please repeat in English?
Какие вы видите
What problems do you have entering the Russian market, and do you have any experience of cooperation with Russian companies? Mr. Rosie is with us.
Господин Диади, я бы попросила вас, слышно ли...
Mr. Diadik, can you hear the questions? Can you hear the translation?
You can speak in English if you want.
Yes, sorry. I'm trying to interpret your question because I'm late in this meeting. Sorry.
Can you hear the translation? This channel will be used for translation from Russian to English. Can
Okay,
you hear me
yes.
now? Yep, great.
Yeah. Okay.
Господин Рози, с нами ли вы? Слышите ли
Mr.
вы?
Rosie, can you hear us? Can you hear the
Yes,
questions?
absolutely can.
And you are a
can hear you.
representative of Indonesian business?
I'm from Utama Karya. Utama Karya is one of the biggest state-owned enterprise for construction business, construction and infrastructure business. Yeah.
Да, господин Диади, все-таки я повторю свой
I
вопрос.
repeat the question once again. Do you have any experience of cooperation with the Russian companies?
Okay. Not yet, but we will engage with one Russian companies, Rosatom, for conducting feasibility studies in nuclear power plant development in Indonesia.
Тогда у меня второй вопрос. Какие вы
And my
видите...
second question is, what are the problems for Indonesian company when entering the Russian market? What is the barrier in Russia which are impediments for comfortable working?
Yeah, actually we don't have any clear information about the condition of Russian market. Yeah, different from others country, but for Russian market we still not get the clear information what kind of product or what kind of market is available to us for doing business with Russia.
Как вы думаете, какие должны...
What do you think? What should be the mechanisms and tools to make this cooperation the most efficient?
I think from G to G, government to government have to conduct some thing like business session or business meeting to attract Indonesian or Russian industry to go for business relationship.
Ну и все же я задам еще вопрос.
And one more question.
Mhm.
We have such a brief presentation with you. What do you already have experience of working with any business association in Indonesia? Do you have any experience and are you willing to cooperate with business associations, which are organizations which promote business interests? Do you have any experience of working with business association?
Business association, yes. In Indonesia level, we have industrial committee. Indonesia said Kadin, Komite Dagang dan Industri Indonesia. But for international level, we don't have any experience to work with association.
Спасибо вам, господин Альдиади.
Thank you very much. I believe that the cooperation which is possible with the business association and the entry to the Russian market, as far as I understand, you have the potential and willingness to enter the Russian market, and it could be more efficient when you cooperate with business associations in Russia in particular. And to my point of view, cooperation with the trade representatives of Indonesia, trade representatives of Russia is very efficient from the point of view to understand more information about Russia, which also could be very efficient in interest. Welcome. We hope that our cooperation with the Russian company will be efficient for the economy of both Indonesia and Russia. Dear colleagues, we move forward.
Yeah, maybe if you could share to us any experiences from others country that make a business relationship with Russia, because I think Indonesia have potential in human resource. Like if we do construction business in other country, we have strength in human resource to doing that construction job.
Абсолютно точно. Обменяемся с вами информацией. Уважаемые коллеги.
We will exchange information. Dear colleagues, nonetheless, let's move on as regards our Russian-Indonesian agenda. And I would like to give the floor to Mr. Dendi Gustinadar, Director for Public Relations Promotion and Protocol, Batam, VP Batam. I see that you have a PowerPoint. If we could then just listen to your presentation and then discuss a few questions, if it matters with you, Andrew. So the floor is yours.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, participants of the webinar. I sincerely thank from International Industrial Exhibition for organizing this forum and extending our highest appreciation to government of the Russian Federation who continuously supporting Batam. And this webinar, BB Batam will convey investment development and future investment of opportunities in Batam Free Trade Zone and Special Economic Zone. Next slide, please. BB Batam is the management of Batam Free Trade Zone designated by the central government of Indonesia. Is under regional council led by coordinating Minister of Economic Affairs of Republic of Indonesia, whilst BB Batam is chaired by Muhammad Rudi, you can see at the slide, who is also mayor of the Batam, along with vice chairman and 4 deputy chairmen who help in managing Batam. Next slide, please. In this slide, we can see 415 square kilometer Batam Free Trade Zone is strategically located within international shipping lane of Malacca and Singapore Strait, making the region a conducive destination for investment neighboring with ASEAN countries. Next slide, please. And Batam has several fiscal investment incentives, such as export-import fee exemption, exemption on value-added tax, VAT, exemption on sales tax for luxurious goods, provision of reducing gross income of up to 200% for corporate taxpayers, for organized training and vocational education for certain competency, better known as super deductible taxes, agreement to avoid double taxation with 57 countries, and also efficient operating costs. On the next slide, in 2020, the Coordinating Ministry for Economic Affairs of Republic of Indonesia has designated 2 locations in Batam as a special economic zone. The first one is Nongsa Digital Park, which accommodates the growing digital industry as well as startups, and also Hang Nadim Airport for maintenance, repair, and overhaul, or MRO, which will be the center for aircraft and engine service, as well as the other aerospace development services. And however, we still waiting for government regulation governing the ease of investment in this special economic zone. The next slide, we can see at the first semester of 2020, Batam has investment value of 497 billion US dollar, whilst there are 1,309 companies with almost 170,000 employees. And the next slide, currently there are 5 top industries in Batam, besides metal and machineries, leather, rubber, and plastic packaging, electronic, shipyards, and oil and gas supporting industry. Now we have set our target industry comprising of manufacture and services industry. Next slide, please. We can see this slide covered 10 top countries that invested in Batam. I hope we have Russia here. As per Q3 of 2020, we can see Singapore still dominates as the top of the list of the past 5 years with more than 1 trillion US dollar, followed by Hong Kong, Malaysia, Australia, and Switzerland. Next, please. To support industrial and investment activities in Batam, Batam is well equipped with modern infrastructure such as international airport, electricity, 4 cargo ports and 5 passenger ports, 7 clean water reservoirs, internet and telecommunication, hospitals, highway, the modern IT center facility equipped by disaster recovery center. We can see in the next slide, there are 24 industrial estates in Batam. So investor may choose the one that located at strategic location for your business. And finally, BU Batam is highly committed. Next slide, please. Yeah, BU Batam is highly committed to facilitate investors in Batam Free Trade Zone and Special Economic Zone, and we hope that more Russian business will entrust your investment in Batam. So thank you, and looking forward to meeting you in Batam. Thank you.
Спасибо, господин Гостинадар. Скажите, пожалуйста, какие преференции
Thank
для...
you very much. What are the preferences for the foreign companies, including the Russian companies, which would like to work on Indonesian market? Do you have? What are the intense incentives, the support measures?
Sorry? Yeah. Actually, we already have met with several companies from Russia, and I met Mr. Sergey Rosomakov. Hi, Sergey, several times, and always, Mr. Sergey always bring some companies, especially from shipyard, come to Batam. And the last one before this pandemic, it's quite serious, come to Batam, and we discuss very serious things, and the company already have some serious cooperation with one company in Batam, but you know, pandemic changed everything. I don't know, they postpone or they cancel. But at least even now we don't have any Russian company operating in Batam by, foreign direct investment from Russia. But we already built a connection relationship with Russia by Mr. Sergey. Thank you. That we hope next we can have more cooperation in investment, and we, last year I went to Russia, Kazan and Moscow, and we talk about many things to build a connection relationship with Russia. So we believe next year after pandemic we can have new project, or the first one between Russia and Batam.
Спасибо вам большое. Желаем вам
Thank you very
дальнейших.
much. We wish you the best of success in collaboration with Russian companies and your company. Dear colleagues, I would like to give the floor to our colleagues from Russia, Indonesia Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Mr. Didit Ratam. Mr. Ratam, in the very beginning of our conversation, you told about the cooperation in general. What are the support measures who are provided for Indonesian companies which are willing to enter the Russian market, or for any Indonesian company which is planning to enter foreign markets? Could you please tell us about such measures?
Sure. Thank you very much for giving me the chance again. I'd like to actually, I'll touch upon your question, but please allow me to also share a little bit here. Okay. So let me update you first of all, and this is, I think, somewhat relevant to what the discussion is here today. First of all, I'd like to give you the direction post COVID-19 in Indonesia. There are 3 points actually, and these are that are relevant. First of all, there's a focus on post-COVID economic transformation. That means that after the COVID crisis, we want to come not back to the point where we began, but we want to basically jump ahead to have economic transformation, and this is done in five sectors. First of all, healthcare, good healthcare. Second one is social welfare. That means food and stuff. And the third is industry, strategic industries in particular. Four is digitalization, and fifth is is what you have with regards to talent. Now, that is the first development that the Indonesian government is actually focusing at the moment. The second one is there has just been passed the law on job creation, and this will make ease of doing business much easier in Indonesia. So for investors coming out of Russia going to Indonesia, you will have a much easier time getting permits. If permits in the past would take you a long time in the regions, now the regulation has been slashed. The tax has also been slashed. Also labor, the labor law now, after the law on job creation or the omnibus law, is now more friendly towards investors. Also with regards to environmental, it's also easier. So all in all, the Indonesian government is trying very hard to actually welcome investors such as Russian companies. And that is the purpose of having this law on job creation, which was passed last month. The third direction that we are taking is not only are we coming up with regulations that will make it easy, but we're also creating more and more industrial zones. Batam is one of them, but of course there are many industrial zones that are being established, and these are very specific. These are on many of our islands, also in Java. They usually have very good purposes. I mean, they are purposed for new markets, new industry, relocation from other countries. That's one. They have access to the domestic market. We have 260 million people, as I mentioned before. So being in the industrial zones, you have access to this. But while at the same time, you have access to international markets, because all these industrial zones are linked by either railroad, they are linked by toll roads, and they are also linked by seaports. So that this makes it easier. Now, how is this relevant? And bear with me a minute. Okay, here, okay.
И
Now,
все же,
what are,
возвращаясь к мерам, да.
And going
sorry.
back to the support measures.
И все же, возвращаясь к
okay.
мерам поддержки,
Going back
господин...
to the support measures, Mr. Ratam,
Yes.
what are the measures of support provided by your business association? How do you support the entry of Indonesian companies to foreign markets?
How we support is actually that we collaborate with the other ministries, especially with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Trade, because although we are not part of the government, but we are partners of the government. So we provide access to our members, which are the hundreds of thousands of businesses in Indonesia, if they need information about Russia. So going both ways, whether it is from Indonesia to Russia or from Russia to Indonesia, we provide them, we facilitate them also for Russian businesses that are interested in going to Indonesia. We have a business service desk that can help them. Also for Indonesian businesses that would want to do business in Russia, we can help them find business forums or just give them the opportunity to meet Russian businesses. So if you allow me, I'd just like to present this little thing. And these are, and I think this is relevant for Russian industries. And these are the industries that we believe are transformational, that would welcome Russian industries. One is healthcare, equipment, pharmaceuticals, food, grain staples, fishery, industrialization of food, energy, especially renewable technology, green technology, energy storage. You go down the list, processing, coal gasification, green refining. You also have transportation, aircraft industry, shipbuilding, land transport, infrastructure, and all its supporting system. I know that Russian companies have been in talks with the Indonesian government as well as Indonesian businesses with regards to infrastructure. Systems, smart transportation, digitalization, which I know Russia is very strong in. We need partners in that regard because we have to jump into digitalization, hardware, software, digital services. So I think for all these businesses that I'm sure your distinguished forum has contacts and overseas, we are open to this.
Да, господин Ратам, вы закончили, да, презентацию?
Yes, Mr. Ratam, you have finished your presentation.
Mr. Ratam, have you finished the presentation?
Yes, I have.
Then,
Thank you very much.
Then I have one more question to you. What would you recommend Russian companies that wish to access the Indonesian market? What's the sequence of actions and and measures? What does a Russian company need to do in order to access the Indonesian market?
There are two ways of doing that. I mean, one way of doing is to contact your trade representative headed by Sergei Rosomakov. That's one. The other one is you can also contact us directly, which is the Russian Committee of the of Kadin, which is the Chamber of Commerce. We would be happy to accommodate you. We consist not only of businesses, but we also consist of association of businesses. So we would be able to facilitate if you're looking for certain partners, of course.
Тогда у меня вопрос к Сергею.
Then I have a question to Sergei Rosomakov, our trade representative in Indonesia. Sergei, you have heard a number of presentations by Russian and Indonesian companies that are ready to enter the Indonesian market. How could you support these companies and what actions would you recommend them in order to avoid mistakes? Thank you very much for this question. We are trying to use all our opportunities and all our resources, which unfortunately are limited, to provide information and other support to Russian companies that want to access the Indonesian market. And first of all, I'd like to say that the products have to be competitive and they have to be needed by the international market. So it's not that we just want to supply, for example, flower pots to Indonesia. This is all not specific, and this is far from reality. We will give general assessment of the market in terms of potential of promoting a product in the Indonesian market. We will select potential partners on the Indonesian side. They will be reliable partners. We will have to focus on that as well. Who can later be agents or partners in joint ventures here in Indonesia. Thirdly, we can also recommend a list of sectoral exhibitions, fairs, and conferences that are happening here in Indonesia in order to make sure that the Russian organization or firm can participate in person or virtually under the COVID era, and to provide the required legal support in terms of incorporation of a company if they decide to register their business here in Indonesia. This, in general, is a non-exhaustive list of services that we are ready to provide to Russian companies. Thank you very much, Sergey. And today we have mentioned the barriers and impediments to businesses and companies in working in the Russian and Indonesian markets. And Sergey, if I can continue, there was a question on the trade and on whether it's possible to trade in national currencies and so on. These issues have been discussed by the Intergovernmental Committee, and what's the potential? More than that, I'd like to say that as part of the Intergovernmental Board, we have set up a working group on financial and interbank cooperation, and one of the key issues under discussion within this working group is the use of national currencies and mutual payments. We expect that maybe in early 2021 we will have a meeting of the working group, and we hope to start implementing this in practice. We need an agreement between the central banks, and the representatives of the central banks are part of this working group. Thank you very much, Mr. Rosamakov. And the key topic today is the growth points for economies of our two countries. What growth points can exist today? We have mentioned several times that the pandemic has affected the economies of the national economies and the world and the way of life, and the fact that we are having to spend, that we are not offline, that we are online, which has made our life easier. The pandemic has indeed made our life a little bit simpler and has had a positive effect. In any case, it has changed the way we live today. And which points of growth do you see as of today, and what are the prospects for in the new conditions?
Я прошу прощения, это ко мне вопрос адресован?
Да, я предлагаю на этот вопрос.
Okay, I suggest that all of our speakers say something on this matter, because our way of life has changed. We need to understand where to go forward, what growth points, what new areas are possible in order to avoid the decrease in turnovers and the rates of economic growth and so on. And maybe we can find niches and formats that could, and modalities that could help our countries go forward quicker and maybe maybe keep up with the rates of development today. Please think about it and quickly say a few words on that. That's a question to each of you. So we start with Sergei Rasimakov and then listen to other colleagues. As regards the growth points or the pain points, the tender points, is the whole world is now in the era of the Industrial Revolution, that is Industry 4.0. Indonesia and Russia are no exceptions. And and the key components of this Industry 4.0 include the use of innovative digital technologies, the use of artificial intelligence, energy efficient production, the focus on highly skilled, on creating highly skilled human resources, on robotics. And these are the areas of growth for the future as regards economy and industry, both in Russia and in Indonesia. We cannot continue to only rely on the exports of oil or palm oil. We have to go into high-tech cooperation, and we have to shift to industrial cooperation, which can help us move forward, as I think.
Thank you, Sergey. I would like to give the floor to Sergey Galstyan. What is your vision? What are the points of growth for both Russian and global economies possible? I support everything my colleague Sergey Rasimakov said. There is nothing to add, actually, because he has a complex approach and the vision of everything. On the level of the company management, on my behalf, on a micro level, I would like to add that there are lockdown risks, because the lockdowns have a huge impact on functioning, on operation of the enterprise. We have to review all the strategy regarding the automotive industry. There were cases when it's physically impossible to take people for maintenance. People are unavailable because of the lockdown. And of course, the warehouse management, stock management is also difficult. We are transforming the supply system of the company and the sales of the products. New technologies are covering not only the strategy of the company, but internal behavior within the company. Thank you. Andrei Bardzis, your opinion. I believe that, first of all, pandemic will be will make natural decision when the unnecessary project will just die. Those who work inefficiently, I first of all talk about large infrastructural projects. We have to focus on something that's more efficient and more interesting from the point of view of economy. On the micro level, I would agree with Sergey. It's a very interesting model of work with KAMAZ in Indonesia and our work in India. I have already mentioned that we have bilateral relations. It's very important to find reliable partners on whom we have to rely more than previously, because now we cannot physically present and do something within the project's frameworks on all these stages, on stages of marketing, manufacturing, maintenance. We have to work together more than before. We have to be integrated. with our foreign colleagues. It's inevitable, and we have to rely one on each other because the risks are inevitable. Thank you very much, Mr. Nugroho. Please. Please unmute your microphone.
Thank you very much. I think the challenge is how we do many things during the COVID era. We have to maximize our coordination, our communication to go through this process so that we prepare a product when the normal situation has come. So, for instance, everything that can be done during COVID with online must be maximized. And we have to increase our communication, the quality and frequency of communication to get the results. That's my opinion. Because the recovery is predicted between 2 to 3 to 4 years later. And during the development of the new aircraft, it's not too very far. It's near. So we have to keep pushing the everything that we should do, and we have to maximize our productivity too during the COVID. That is my opinion.
Спасибо большое, господин Нугрохо.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nugroho. Mr. Gustinadar, please. What do you think about this?
Господин Денди Густинадар.
Mr. Dendi Gustinadar.
Yeah, thank you. I think this pandemic happened the whole world now and create a new equilibrium in economy in the whole world. Now, our job is how to develop awareness, develop knowledge about this virus, because we're facing the new normal. We cannot stop here. We have to grow. We have to still productive in this era, in new normal era. You know, Batam is a small island. We can control, we can manage the pandemic until now, because now our data in Batam only 2,800 positive case and still controlled by the local government. So the most important thing, we have to realize that Batam more than 50% depend on investment in our GDP structure. So that's why government job now to build awareness, to build knowledge in pandemic for the people in Batam, so we can face this new normal. We can go into the new opportunity in the next 2021, 2022, and we realize the opportunity is still in there. So thank you very much, and we hope Batam and Russia can make a cooperation more tight, and we need more investment from Russia, especially in shipyard industry. Thank you.
Спасибо огромное, господин Густинадар.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gustinadar. Mr. Radiage. Rosie Renayadi, can you add something on the growth points?
Yeah, I think we hope we will engage with one of Russian company regarding the nuclear power plant within a short term. to do feasibility studies about building new nuclear, building the first nuclear power plant in Indonesia. And hopefully Russian embassy in Indonesia can help us to do that. And also we need support from our government. Thank you.
Спасибо. Спасибо. Ну и
Thank you very much. And the last to speak is Mr. Ratam. Your opinion on the growth points into the two countries. What do you see going forward?
Oh, thank you very much. So first of all, let me correct a little bit on Hutama Karya. There is a Russian company that is in discussion with Weight in Motion with Hutama Karya at the moment. It's called NTS. That's already in the works. But with regards to the relationship of the two countries, I think the pandemic, as Sergei Rosomakov said, is that digitization is the key of it. And actually, as I mentioned before, transformational technologies is basically the key of the relationship between the two countries. So again, I would like to invite any Russian companies who have transformational technologies that can bring efficiency, that can bring progress to come to Indonesia. We would be working with you hand in hand and welcoming you. So I think that is the future of the Indonesian-Russian relationship. Businesses such as aircraft industry, the R80, as mentioned by Agung Nugroho, also Kamas. These are all good technologies that are welcome in Indonesia. So thank you very much for this opportunity again, madam.
Спасибо, господин Ратам. Кроме того, я должна...
Thank you, Mr. Ratam. Besides, I'd like to say that as a business association, the Business Russia has more than 200 partner business associations across the world, and we invite you to accelerate and increase our cooperation with your association. We are ready to suggest that we sign an agreement of cooperation, and we prepare a roadmap for interaction between Russian and an Indonesian companies in order to make this cooperation more efficient. We will continue our cooperation and our discussions in the future. Dear colleagues, I have to say that the potential for cooperation with Indonesia is huge. We have very broad opportunities, and indeed, we have heard many times that sometimes companies do not have enough information or coordination or cooperation, or just a more active stance in some points, in some ways. We need to find growth points. We need to develop these activities, and we need to contact the competent organizations that can help you with working and accessing our markets, and including the Indonesian market. Our colleagues have put it very correctly. I'd like to say thank you to the Minister of Trade and Industry that provide a lot of help to the business community. We have felt that during the pandemic, this support was very efficient, where businesses could not actively participate and travel and negotiate. Our colleagues in trade chambers and trade representative offices across the world have really helped companies. This is what enabled us to support, to maintain the trade turnover, and to maintain the relationships with our partners in other countries. The pandemic does give a lot of opportunities. These include information opportunities, and all of us are looking for new points of growth and new modalities and new types of interaction and work. And the more often we hold such events and discuss problems and exchange our experiences, the fewer errors we will make, and the more chances we will have for breakthroughs, for finding new niches and new formats. And many thanks to the organizers of this session, of INAPROM, for this very good moderation, for this very good organization, for helping support this work at the according to the highest standards. And I really want to wish all of us good health and a lot of success. Thank you very much. Goodbye.